Next on our panel, we have Ray Vester, a third-generation rice farmer from Stuttgart, Arkansas. Mr. Vester is testifying on behalf of the USA Rice Federation, where he currently serves as chairman of their Environmental Regulatory Subcommittee. Thank you for being here today, Mr. Vester, and we look forward to your testimony.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, other members of the subcommittee. I appreciate the opportunity to be here today to speak to regulatory issues facing the rice industry and other agricultural industry people. The USA Rice Federation, I'm Ray Vester from Stuttgart, Arkansas, the president of the USA Rice Federation Environmental Regulatory Subcommittee. The USA Rice Federation is a national organization representing rice producers, millers, and merchants, and others involved in the rice industry. They're an advocate for the production and milling and sales of rice here in the United States, and also the sale of rice around the world. The rice industry is an industry which is unique to the United States. There are 10 states that produce rice. The 6 leading states are Arkansas, California, Louisiana, Texas, Mississippi, and Missouri. 4 other states produce rice, and that's Florida, Tennessee, Kentucky, and Illinois. There's about 3 million acres of rice raised each year in the United States, and an average of about 9,000 farms that produce that rice. It's a $34 billion industry here in the United States, creating 128,000 jobs in that industry, many of which are rural jobs in small communities around the nation. There's 20 billion pounds of rice produced each year, half of which is exported, but the other half is consumed here in the United States. Pests that affect the rice crop are insects, disease, and of course weeds and grasses. And rice is a crop that is grown in the water. It's an aquatic crop. I'm here today to speak on behalf of the rice industry concerning the NPDES permits, which we are looking now at since November 1 has arrived. The first thing that is obvious when you read the permit is that there's education needed in the Office of Water in the Department, or in U.S. EPA. One of the first things you read is that the use of pesticides should be done at the lowest amount of pesticides possible, delivered in a precise way to actively control the pest. That's what farmers do each and every day, because that's the reason of economy savings. Then the next language that comes up states that the pesticides are only to be applied as a last resort measure when pest conditions can no longer be tolerated. If that approach is followed, then the first approach can't be reached. If you wait till the last to control the weeds, then you use more pesticides. If you use the pesticides early, you use smaller amounts. It would be like taking your child to an emergency room or to the doctor with a sore throat, and the doctor tells you, well, he has strep throat, and you say, well, you know, he's not sick enough to have antibiotics yet, I'll take him home. And you come back at the end of the week, and his throat is so sore he can't speak, he's running fever, and you say, well, I still think he's strong enough to survive. And a week later, you find him in the hospital with an IV with antibiotics, hoping you save his life. That's the approach the NPDES permit takes when it comes to the application of pesticides on rice or any other crop. Rice is grown in an aquatic situation, in fields with established borders, levee borders, to keep either water in or out. Water is kept in during the growing season, released during the harvest season, and dried. It's not waters of the U.S. There are waters pumped into a field there. The permit's required for any time you apply a pesticide in the waters of the U.S. Rice, we feel, is not planted or grown in waters of the U.S. It's planted and grown in a flooded situation. The permits are supposedly to prevent what pesticides being released into the waters of the U.S., when in fact the permit allows you to release pesticides into the waters of the U.S. We're already covered by FIFRA, which, as the speakers have already said, that covers all those situations. It's established. Farmers follow those rules and regulations. Aerial applicators follow those rules and regulations. And with the passage of NPDES permits, we have double regulation. We're doing the same thing over and over again, costing family farms more and more money to accomplish what is needed. The rice industry is very much against the passage of this. On the dust issue, it's hard to farm without dust. It's a natural reaction. If you don't have dust, the ground's too wet to work. If you have dust, the ground is ready to be prepared for planting. We're challenged and given the responsibility to raise crops to feed this nation. And with dust regulations that are supposedly could be imposed, we face a very difficult situation. We stand very much opposed to the dust regulations that may affect rice farmers and farming in general in the United States. I'd be happy to ask any questions that you might have.